Hello, let's talk about the chapters 4 to 19 of Space Opera, the 2018 science fiction humorous novel by Catherine M. Valenti, which I avoided definitely like the plague at first when I heard about it, just because it kept on talking about Douglas Adams. And I find that with a lot of stuff that is Douglas Adams, is it either irritates me or just really disappoints me because um, whatever Douglas Adams did, um, I think either he did it so extremely well that anyone else doing it um, just falls terribly short for me, or uh, it's the one that imprinted on my brain, and thus nobody else can particularly replace it, no matter how good they are, no matter how bad they are. Now, the good news about space opera is that it's not Douglas Adams. Um, Now, I don't know if this is the bad news, but actually, what actually comes to mind with this book is it really reminds me of Salman Rushdie. There is a certain kind of a swagger, certain kind of hyperactivity, um, um, pop culture, kind of kind of razzmatazz, kind of jazzy, kind of I'm gonna just fucking do a whole bunch of stuff with my ferocious intellect kind of feel to this. It is very Salman Rushdie, and it's probably helped along that the narrator that they've gotten for the audiobook of this that I'm listening to is reading it in a British accent that could totally be Salman Rushdie. And Decibel Jones is actually um, Desi. I can't remember what his full name is, but he is, Decibel Jones is his kind of his glitter, his glitter pop star omnisexual name. Um, but he and his bandmates, while they're completely British, they're not your white Anglo-Saxon Brits. They are your multitudinous um, combo Brits of like all over the world. Like so many people all over the world now are multitudinous in their things, and indeed, um, in that they've gotten selected to sing for the world. It's actually rather yes, the right thing. Um, as you get these all these Brexit tinged officials swarming them, saying like, "Oh, you're not a British band. You're not like all white kind of good boys who are straight and spiff and polish types. You're possibly gay and foreigners. Really, you're not really British because your skin color is wrong, and you haven't you know your family hasn't lived here for 5,000 years. It's you've you know relatively grandmother I think was also British, but you're the wrong color, so you couldn't be actually British. That kind of racism, which Desi is Decibel is he's used to it. He's heard it all his life, and it's just like fuck off, fuck off. I'm British. I'm way more British than you fuckers are. So there's that. Um, but yes, I mean the plot of this is pretty simple. The alien picks up uh, Desi, Decimal Jones picks up his Ott Ultraviolet, his the multi instrumental Wonderkin can't pick up um, uh, their drummer, whose name I forget, because he laughed at her, and she went out for a drive to calm down and got killed from by swerving away from a badger that was trying to cross the road. And Ott has always now completely blames him for that. It's like You should have just. She didn't want to marry you. You should have just patted, like things were just crazy. You should have just patted her on the shoulder and told her things were going to be okay. And who knows, maybe they would have been, and that you loved her too. That would have been enough. But no, instead you laughed at her like some kind of fucking monster, and upset her, and now she's dead, and it's your fault. Um, so they have that out. They get taken onto a spaceship, and they're flying there, and they have no fucking clue. They haven't written songs together in a long time. Desi hasn't written a song for like 4 or 5 years, and what he was writing at that point was pretty much shit. It sounds like, and but they were at the very bottom of a long list of people who had all passed away. The top choice having been Yoko Ono, which gives you some idea of, and the Death Clown Posse and Bjork. Bjork, who seemed apparently lost her voice in some kind of narwhal accident. But yeah, just all these things that just aren't there, and they're just it. They're the last choice. And human beings themselves, the officials, try to say, no, we're going to pick who we want. And like, no, no, darlings, says the blue flamingo roadrunner alien who is their minder. It's like, no, no, we made some of the really bastard hosts have made, let people audition their own things. We'll pick for you, and we've picked Desi, Decimal Jones, and the Absolute Zeros as your representative, and you should thank us for that. So we have that, and them going there, and Ott's cat getting given the power of speech, which is like, see, it's got the power of speech now. Just had to tinkle a little bit in its brain, and it's got speech. So you shouldn't, there's this whole thing of what is actual sentience. We have this whole thing of the Vjort, something, that are basically, they're a pestilent plague that zombifies their victims, but does actually have a great culture. So, and was able to have a little worm thing that infest out into the audience, and did the music for them. So they actually won sentience. Floor, whatever, the dinosaur knife, dinosaur razor creature, which is basically, it's a big planet of Hitler's, didn't make it in, and were all exterminated because it couldn't look outside of itself. Sure. Couldn't look outside of itself to do the thing. Now, that's the whole thing with this book, is that the story is pretty simple so far, but interspersed throughout are equally long chapters that go into massive Baroque, dizzying wordgasms of universe building, of all the different species, and their wars, and what is sentience, and yes, the highly invasive plague that gain sentience, wormholes, which are actually giant cows that were you're traveling through their intestinal tracts for the wormhole, I guess, and the civilization that claimed to have invented them for a long time and lied and was collecting tolls, and basically was able to thus establish itself as a giant force in the galaxy, as one of the top level species, because it was such a fucking liar race. So yeah, we have just wordgasm long chapters that are that, and even in the chapters that have Decimal Jones and Ott in them, with their with the Roadrunner Al, and now a very hyperactive panda who apparently is in all time periods all at once, and is flipped through multiple realities and stuff like that, and really wanted Yoko Ono, but it's like, didn't realize that she was dead. It's like, why is she dead? Well, she was like 90 years old. She sort of like died of being an old lady. It's like, at 90? That's terrible. It's like, that's sort of our lifespan. And I think Desi is now sleeping with the Roadrunner. probably because he sleeps, as he actually may be omnisexual. Though, we're not going into the graphic details of that. But yeah, so it's very much, if you're into kind of Salman Rushdie's giant riffs of 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 um, of wordgasms, then you might also be into this book. At the moment, I seem to have the patience for it at the moment, so I'm actually enjoying myself listening to this. I've zipped through. I'm like about halfway through already, and it's just sort of rather addictive that way. So enjoy. So far, so good. Yes. All right, more videos later.